my name is Catherine Tao, and I'm the host of the Data Standard Audio Experience. And today we have Christine Abanilla, a project manager for enterprise engineering at NBC Universal Media. And today we're going to be speaking about the importance of project management. Welcome to the show, Christine. I'm very excited to speak with you and just learn more about project management.
Thank you so much for having me, Catherine.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get started. Can you please speak more about your background and how you kind of just ended up with project management?
So there's a phenomenon in project management known as the accidental project manager, which means that, someone is unexpectedly thrust into the role. It's not something that they were actively looking for. And I think that best describes me. So in college, I studied finance, not knowing what project management was. And I was fortunate to realize my dream of getting a Wall Street internship, which eventually turned into a full-time job. And the internship and full-time job happened to be in project management and ended up becoming my career. So 13 years later, I've worked as a project manager in 4 different industries: finance, e-commerce, accounting, and currently in the entertainment industry. I've managed several technology and corporate projects and programs, spanning both the waterfall and agile methodologies. In its simplest form, my role has been the bridge or the translator between the technology and business teams involved with my projects and programs. And in that time, I also obtained 3 project management certifications, as well as a master's in program and project management.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing about your background and just kind of your journey of how it got you to project management. And I know that project management is a huge passion and interest of mine, so I'm really excited to speak with you about this today and just hear about more about your insight and experiences. In terms of specific projects, can you talk about any specific projects that kind of helped define your career path?
Sure, absolutely. So about 6 months into my career, I was a junior project manager and I was asked to be a part of a very large program. So just for background, a program is a collection of related projects that are working towards a specific objective. This was single-handedly the company's highest priority because it had to do with their core business. So at the time, the underlying software that was part of our options trading platform was acquired by a competitor. So as a result, not wanting to have this competitor know about the inner workings of our platform and having just merged with a German exchange, our company decided to work with our German counterpart to build a new options trading platform from scratch. So it was a 3-year, $26 million cross-Atlantic undertaking involving 200 plus team members. And it was and still is the biggest initiative that I've ever been a part of. And given everything that was at stake, there was a ton of management interest in our progress. So executive reporting was of paramount importance. I was involved heavily with executive reporting, and it covered a few key areas. So initially, I worked with a team to build our program schedule. So all the tasks that we had planned to undertake in building this new platform and all the team members that would be involved in it, and our start and end dates. So this ended up being 5,500, you heard correctly, 5,500 lines in Microsoft Project that I built over the time that I was working with the team. So schedule was a very important part of it. Were we sticking to the dates and the timelines that we had set? From there, I got involved in tracking our project budget. So we were on the hook to forecast what we anticipated to spend, how we anticipated to spend that $26 million over that 3-year period. And then we had to track what we were actually spending against what we had forecasted. So that was also very critical. We needed to report on whether we were on track, whether we were over or under, and what were the reasons for those variances. Program risks and issues were also very important and needed to be very visible to our executive team. So we definitely had to keep on top of those as well. In my time on the program, I also had the opportunity to travel to Germany 3 times and to Switzerland once to meet and collaborate with our colleagues. So just overall, it was a great experience to be a part of this program. And it was super satisfying when we finally launched the new platform in April of 2011. And I'm very proud to have been a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I know that you had mentioned that a big important aspect of project management is communication. And you had mentioned to me before that communication is comprised of about 90% of your specific work. You're kind of that middle person that's in between speaking to all the team members, whether it be the business stakeholders, the techies, all the
Right.
executives. You're that middle person. You're kind of like the glue keeping everyone together. So that's really awesome. You also mentioned how personality assessments is a huge part of being able to just collaboratively and effectively communicate with everybody within your group. So can you elaborate more on this and what types of personality assessments you use that kind of helped you with your journey with this?
Sure. So I've been fortunate to have taken 3 different personality assessments over the course of my career. The first one I ever took was at a networking event, and it's called the Insights Discovery Test. So this one has 4 different personality types. As part of the networking event, all the participants had to take the assessment prior to attending the session. And then in the session, we reviewed our results together as a group. So the 4 personality types, there's cool blue, earth green, sunshine yellow, and fiery red. So I thought this assessment was kind of interesting because it didn't just say, you're this one particular personality type. It kind of told me that I spanned across 2 personality types. So I span across earth green with a touch of cool blue. So in summary, that means that I work best, probably like most of the data community here, I work best with facts and data. And then I also want to ensure that I work well with others, that I have good relationships with my team members and my colleagues. So that's the Insights Discovery Test. So it was really interesting to take the assessment, review the results, and then compare it to other people's results as well. I've also taken the Tracom Social Style Assessment and the Myers-Briggs Assessment. That's a very popular one, especially with project managers. So in the Tracom Social Styles, I came out as analytical, much like I'm sure if the data community took the assessment, they would come out with a very similar result. And Myers-Briggs has, I guess, multiple personality types. There's not just 4 like Insights or Tracom. I believe there are 26 different Myers-Briggs personality types, and I fall into the ISFJ. So what that essentially means is I'm introverted, but I also am observant, feeling, and judging. So it means that I tend to keep a lot of my thoughts internal. However, it's usually because I'm taking the time to process information. It doesn't mean that I'm not listening or I don't have an interest in what people are saying. It can be interpreted as, I'm on the quiet side, but it means that, my brain is working and it's processing internally. And at the time that I feel is appropriate, I will interject and share my thoughts or my feelings on a particular subject. So based on those 3 assessments, even though the results are so different and there's different explanations for each personality type, I've found consistent patterns in my particular results.
That's awesome. I love always hearing about these personality assessments because it always helps with team collaboration, but you can also learn a lot about yourself that maybe you didn't actually know, and it helps you kind of dial into the types of skills that you might have and skills that you might want to develop more. So that's awesome. And I know
Definitely.
that you mentioned Myers-Briggs, and I know that's a very popular one. I'm an ENFJ. I don't exactly remember what exactly that means, but I'll have to read into that after this podcast for sure. But yeah, so of course with these personality tests, everybody on the team is understanding themselves or knowing themselves as introverts, extroverts, the way they work differently. And of course, there's so many different personalities there. You're of course going to work with people that are similar to you and people who are maybe a little bit different from you. So from your experience, what is the best way to work with people who might have different personality traits?
At a previous company that I worked for, a large group of us took the Tracom Social Style Assessment. And it was interesting because nearly all of the executives fell into the driving personality. So in short, that means that when you're communicating with a driving personality type, very results-driven individuals. So your communication should be short, direct, and to the point. They're not interested in paragraphs or long stories, just a high-level update covering the most important information. And if you think about it, that really makes a lot of sense for executives because they're so busy, they're juggling so many things and different priorities, and they really just want to know what the high notes are for your particular project or particular item that you're working on. Interestingly, in that same group, only one person out of everyone fell into the amiable personality type. So when you're communicating with someone that's amiable, they want you to show them that you care. So instead of going straight into, hey, I need this from you, you may start off with a chat with them. How are you doing? How's your week going? What was the latest thing that you finished on Netflix? Or something along those lines to just make them feel like there's a human interaction or a human connection before you dive into the collaborative aspect of what you're trying to achieve. And so I mentioned this before a little bit. So I fell into the analytical category in this assessment. So it means that I'm interested in the facts and the data points and the context behind things. So I like when things are fully explained to me because as a project manager, I'll likely need to summarize that information and communicate it back to somebody else. But I'll probably, communicate it at a higher level, and at least I'll still have the details behind it in case I need to share details.
Yeah, and I really like that your team, you said, had used the Tracom assessment, you said. I personally never heard of this assessment, but it sounds like a great way to kind of boost that team collaboration. And I think it also would help people on the team be comfortable with the team members and communicate effectively. And just, it also will, in the long run, also help with the just skills overall of the company, just the overall company products. And the happier you are at a company, the better and more willing you are to work harder. And so I think that's awesome, and that's something that I'll definitely bring up to my team to do the assessments. That's awesome. So my last question for you is just, do you have any advice for those with more of a technical background trying to break into the project management space?
Sure. So in my career, I've known a lot of folks who started out in the technical space and then later became project managers because of their skills and expertise. So I'd say to anyone interested in taking that path to look into becoming a member of the Project Management Institute, or PMI. I'm not sponsored by them, but I am a member of the PMI. They have a wealth of information on project management. They have the PMBOK, PMBOK, which is the project manager, basically our guidebook as project managers. They have webinars on there, industry trends, and lots of networking opportunities. And for those who are technical and eventually gain some project management experience, if you want to continue down that path, the PMI also has certifications that you can apply for and take exams to obtain. So I've also gone down this path. The certifications are well respected and sought after in the industry, so they're definitely worth looking into.
That's awesome. Thank you for that advice. At the Data Standard, we're trying to build a community of data thought leaders and data enthusiasts in order for everyone to just kind of have a platform to collaborate and network with one another. So what is something that we can do for you?
So I'll say that without folks in the data space, there wouldn't be any projects, because without the underlying data to drive decisions, we wouldn't be able to move forward with any projects. Data and project management go hand in hand, from the initial data to say that, we need a project, there's a gap, or we need to build or buy something, or we need to enhance or improve something. We need data for project reporting, and we need it for all the way through to project closure, from did we meet our objectives for this project, and did we meet the criteria that our executive sponsor is looking for on this project. It's so paramount. They definitely go hand in hand. So I would say that I'd love to connect with more folks in the data space to understand a little bit more about the trends in the data space, because I've definitely been following project management industry trends, but it would be nice to learn more about the data space and the trends that are happening over there.
Absolutely. And we'll for sure keep you in the loop with all of our community events so that you can network and collaborate with other data folks from other companies.
Sure.
Great. And so where can our community connect with you and just find you online?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you search for my name, Christine Abanilla.
Awesome. And for more information on the data standard, you can find us at www.datastandard.io. And this episode is sponsored by Pandio. They're innovating their tech space with the Apache Pulsar messaging system. Learn more about their work at pandio.com. And thank you so much, Christine, for coming to join us and just speak more about project management and these assessments, these personality assessments. I think it's very helpful for especially the tech community to just learn more about themselves and effectively be able to communicate with everyone on the team. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. It was my pleasure.